Okay, so here's what we got going on. We pulled this strut out. We got a few things to show you. We pulled this strut out. I did notice a couple things that were wrong, or bad, I should say. The first thing is the rear, whoops. Well, that's nice. The rear upper control arm. The ball joints on that is totally gone. It's got a bunch of play in it, totally destroyed. Ordered another set of those. And from what I've read, these are the same as the E39, except for this particular washer that goes in it. But who knows? So I bought them for the E60 just to make sure. You don't want to get the wrong stuff in. Okay, so here's the second thing. The strut, you can see the lowering spring on here. You can see these lowering springs, the rust in between there. That means the coils are hitting on the front, so you can see that real bad too. Now, the strut that I took out, I believe is still good. The strut that we got as a replacement is not. And you can see what the issue is. Right here, you can see there's oil on it. And that means the oil is leaked out from inside the strut. That's not really a big deal because I didn't buy the rear struts to use the strut. I bought them for the springs, right? So we're gonna go ahead and just swap that around. I ordered, like I said, the new control arms are about $79. Goo! That was for an OK brand, for like a Lemon Dolphin or whatever the hell it is. They were like $300 to $400 for a pair of them. Just insane money. Now I could also see, let me get a light here. This forward toe arm, you can see the boots ripped on that ball joint also. That's not very common. Looking on the bushing on the back, that looks fine. We'll check the lower ball joint on the back of this, but I can't see that being bad on this car with the miles on it. I'm really shocked though that this other stuff is bad. So we have a bunch of stuff we got in today. We got oil pan gasket in. We got CHF 11S in. There we go. And I forgot what in the hell I did. Here it is. It's a razor knife. Everything is here except for the rod bearings. I actually talked to that guy today, and he said, don't worry about it. They just got shipped today. They're coming right from ACL and so forth. So I guess we won't worry about it. We'll go ahead and go about our business, whatever have you. And we got oil pan gasket. There we go. It's a big one. This packing slip. So like that pretty much came unscathed. And that's actually a metal oil pan gasket. I don't see any, I thought it was supposed to have rubber on it, but I guess not. It doesn't, so hopefully not. So that'll work for that. Glad to have that here. Put that over out of the way. So I guess what we're gonna do is start pulling the subframe out. So let me go ahead and get this thing lifted up in the air, and we'll kind of take you along for the ride as we're going here. I think we should be able to do everything from the bottom. We cannot forget though, before we get too carried away with it, to put our engine brace on this car before we start taking too much apart. So let's get to it. Okay, so we also got this guy in. This is the dial indicator, digital dial indicator, and this has a magnet on the bottom and has a off-on switch for the magnet. So in theory, we're gonna be able to somehow attach this to the subframe or engine block. We find something metal, and then this is going to go against the Vanos pump gear, and that'll let us rock it back and forth, and it'll show us the clearance on there. How that works out or not, that's yet to be determined. Hopefully it does, because it was not cheap. Hopefully it pans out good. Next up we have the rod bolts that came in. I know, we're gonna zip this apart in 1 second. That's what I want to show you. So we got all the factory rod bolts, and these have the two-stage thread, the big thread that threads into the rod itself, and then the small thread that the nut actually goes on. We got the whole entire set. These are like 100, I don't remember, 150 or 170 bucks for those damn bolts. You toss this off here, grab our impact, and we're just gonna go ahead and pull down. I'm gonna flip you guys out here real quick. We're gonna go ahead and pull down this whole underpin. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Let me take a look here. Yeah, you can see it pretty good. Let me give you the old adjustment. There you go. And so what is pulled down, the very front tray that covers the radiator had 13 mils holding it. This has 16 mils holding the metal tray. And then that one right there. There's a little bit of oil around, but not really much at all. What the heck? You can see a little bit on the oil pan. That looks like it might be. It's really hard to tell. It could be from that gasket right there. It could be from oil sending unit. Everything else seems like it's pretty decent though. And really not too bad at all. Something going on there. Well, don't know why that's pushed out. But over here, if you look, it's not on that side. Interesting. But now you can see that gives us plenty of access to our thrust arms. We'll have to check all those carefully when we have them all out. They look fine from this standpoint. And our tie rods, I have to look up. I think we'll have to take those off. Depends on how far down we want to let this subframe hang. We might leave them hooked up and just let it hang. I've seen some guys were doing that. And this car's Achilles heel, as you can see, these hard pipes. Is that secondary air? I'm pretty sure it is. And that's where that intake manifold delete tune will come in handy, because all that crap goes away. Like half the crap on top of the engine goes away. So would it be worth $1,000 that tune? Boy, it very well could be. You know, that gets rid of all the mass airflow sensors, all the air boxes, all the secondary air pump stuff, all that emissions crap. That on this car is kind of a big deal. We have to take a careful look at the oil cooler too and make sure none of that's leaking. I think that's the one that's leaked. There might be another one up in there, but I'm pretty sure that's the one that leaks. There's just a lot of stuff you got to pay attention to when you're in here to make sure we don't overlook anything. So I guess what we're gonna do right now is work on, we'll try to get these off. That might be interesting. The sway bar bottom links. There again though, it just depends on how much we're gonna take off here. If we get the subframe to lay down, you know, down to like right here, I think that's plenty good enough. If we pull it all the way out, that might be a whole different situation, but it should be paper light. I just broke this loose with the wrench. I thought, what the hell am I even doing? I got an impact. There we go. We can just go and pull this down. Thrust arm's done. That bushing actually looks pretty new. Whoa, nope, it's broke. It's broke, how could you expect any less? You can see it here or not. But right as it goes, well, I'll show you how you check that bad boy. Where's my screwdriver at? Yeah, it's not totally trashed out yet, but she's just right there. You can even see it. It's got a rip in it. So, I mean, got a few options with that. Do you want to go ahead and put on the arms on it? Or do we have a press. We could put neoprene bushings in it, I guess. And that might last a little bit, but it's on its way out. It's probably original. More than likely, it looks original by looking at the aluminum on it. Lower arms, they hardly ever go bad. There is a little bit of play in that joint too. That's interesting. I don't know. We'll do some looking on those. And the drop links, like I said, been replaced because they have a greasable joint on the back. They're okay. They're getting dry though. They need to be greased again. But I think, I mean, they'll be more than fine if we do that. And I don't know. We're getting there for sure. The engine mount, I think everybody's saying the engine mount you have to get from the top. There's a little nut that sits on top of the oil pan engine mount situation there. Actually, it goes right to the side of the block. I thought that mounted on the oil pan, but it don't. And as far as that goes, shouldn't be that big a deal to pull that. I don't see any access from the bottom at all. Okay, I see. So there's a big nut up top and there's two smaller ones in the bottom. It's gonna be easier to take the big one up out top for that. And I'm trying to see here. So there's the lines going to the rack and pinion. And I really do think that the only more complicated issue is going to have pulling this all down is only the lines to the rack and pinion and those engine mount bolts. Which would need to be, we get to one of those rack and pinion lines right there. And I'm guessing up here is where you pull them apart, so that should be pretty easy. You get to both sides right there. I mean, really not a bad job. So let's go ahead and keep moving with it and see how far we get. Okay, so there's a couple things. To get this bolt out, I had to take the little 10 mil out up here. I think I could just push this over enough at that point to slip that out maybe. If not, we'll have to take that 7 out, that 7 out. There's another 10 at the top, but I think we should be able to get it. Also, there's something unplugged up here. I'm not really sure what that is, but that's a lot of wires and it looks important. It's not the secondary air pump because that's still plugged in. Should I plug it in? Well, probably. Maybe not just quite yet though. It almost looks like the headlight plug, but the headlight works. I'm not real sure what that is, but it is a hell of a lot of wires just to be laying there unplugged. The other side does not have one hanging down anywhere. So that's interesting right there. I don't know. So like I said, we'll go and pull this out. We got this sway bar link off. We got to zip this one off yet. Those come out pretty easy since they're newer and we're getting there. Okay, so we got the old cross member bar on here. Now we have an anchor point right here, the factory hook. Then we have a hole in the bottom of the head over here. We have a bolt with a washer on the head to hold it up. The bar is barely big enough for this car. Actually, we got a little bit crooked over here. Probably need to straighten it out before we go ahead and let her go. But this bar is, I mean, E90, you know, E46, E39, it works really good. But E60 is a little bit wide for it. We definitely got to fix that side over there. Like as you tighten the big nuts up, it shifts around. So you got to be real careful to hold it straight. And you don't want it slipping off. So what we'll do here is tighten these up till it starts lifting the engine, because you could do that pretty easily. We could look at the engine mount bolts And once it starts picking up off of there, we know we have all the weight on the bar. That way when you zip the cross member out, you're not gonna have any surprises. So I think we're pretty much ready to go. Power steering lines, we didn't make a call on those tie rods, if we're gonna take those off or what, or just let them dangle. And then the subframe bolts, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so we'll catch up a little bit here on what's going on. Finally got our oil drain pan. It's kind of a necessity for this. So what we got to do yet, we got to take that 10 mil bolt out, that 10 mil bolt out, take that cooling line down. Everything else is unhooked. I forgot to pull this bolt the rest of the way out. We'll do that here in 1 second. And anything else that's attached to the subframe itself. Now you can see right here we got those 18 or 19 mil bolts. And probably the hardest part of the whole thing was getting the power steering stuff undone. Electrical plug right there. This is the driver's side fender well, by the way. We have an E-Torx bolt that bolted through the steering shaft, and I pulled that out. Why are you not focusing, camera? What are you doing? Anyhow, pulled the E-Torx bolt out, just slid the steering shaft off, and there's 2 banjo fitting bolts. One's 18 and one's a 22 mil. Those are a bit hard to get off. You got to make sure you get the O-rings off. Therefore, we needed the old drain pan for that. So what we're going to do now, I think we're going to go ahead and leave the tie rods on it for the time being. And that'll be a safety precaution too, to make sure it doesn't fall and flip out on my hands and crash down. And once I take these 2 10 mil bolts out for that line, then we have 6 bolts all together, and the subframe is going to come down. Okay, let's make it or break it now, boys. Now with the tie rod still hooked up, we got a little safety net here. And we got 18 mil, this big giant extension was probably overkill. We're gonna try to leave one on each side that's loose, but still threaded. I'm gonna go and pull this one all the way. And make sure our middle one is threaded far enough, and I'll pull all four corners out. You see here the 2 longer ones go in the front, the shorter ones go in the back. When you're doing this, remember the cross member's in the top of it. Especially to start with, you never want to stand under it. Just in case something goes on with that cross member and it pops off. Like if it's gonna break, it's gonna do it the first couple minutes. Okay, so this thing's gonna fall. We're gonna hope our oil catch pan holds that up a little bit, at least. We're about to find out right now. But like I said, we left the tie rods on it, so it's not going to crash. Feels nothing. Hang on a second here. We'll let that goop and all that crap run in there. Probably just have to leave that there and just bite the bullet and zip it out. Minus some pressure on this one. It's got to be ready to run, right? What you don't want to do. Never want to put your hand where it's going to be in harm's way if that does come out of there. There we go. Grab all bolts as soon as you drop one. File them over here, and if you do that, you're not going to have any issues locating everything. Now, let's grab this. I'll bring you guys up in here, and you can see, we'll take a look at the engine mounts. That engine mount is toast. That engine mount might be toast. Yeah, it's very possible. It could have two bad engine mounts. They're just loose as hell in there. And that's the kind of stuff that we fully expect by pulling this out. Are we still dripping? Just a little bit. So we'll probably just go ahead and pull this out of here, let that swing down. We still got a lot of downswing on those tie rods yet, and see if that gets us down far enough. If it doesn't, we'll go ahead and take the tie rods out, and yeah, see how we go. Got that mud dauber's nest up there too, but you can see the whole oil pan now. It's totally exposed. Ouch. That's not what I wanted to do. Look at that right there. Well, I'm going to say the motor mounts are definitely bad. I could just about pick those up out of there. Interesting. And you can see the headers and everything up in there. Everything's all exposed. Now, hypothetically, the only thing holding this whole subframe in there is the pinch bolt and the strut. So, could that fall off of there? I mean, probably not, but we'll keep an eye on it anyway. Once that all drains out of there, we'll leave that drain pan under there. And it looks like we could easily get the oil pan off. It should be, I don't know, it might be in the way a little bit. Because right here is the front of the oil pan. I don't know, we'll keep going here. Keep disassembling everything. We got to drain all the fluids first. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here is just wait till tomorrow to go and pull the oil pan off. We just got everything all drained, put the drain plug back in. The rod bearings still aren't here, but tomorrow I definitely want to get this pan off and show you guys how the bearings look. About the delete, I think Dean might be able to get his hands on the tune for this thing, delete all the secondary air pump crap. I just don't know if we could delete the mass airflow stuff without having that evolved tune, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll keep looking into that. If we get the secondary air pump done stuff now where it's all apart, that'd be sweet. That's a lot of crap we don't have to deal with anymore. But yeah, that's gonna be it. We're gonna go and cut it off here for today. We're back tomorrow. Like I said, the bearings still aren't here. Hopefully get that sorted out right away. But I do want to pull the bearings out tomorrow and show you guys how they look. I venture to say they're going to be pretty bad shape. We'll find out tomorrow. That's going to be it, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. We'll see you later.